his opponent sacks the rook! The rook! Oh, I see the vision! But chess.com says it's flawed. What is up, you chess brainiacs? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be reviewing 3 Mohamed Salah chess games. Mohamed Salah, if you don't know him, he is a world-famous footballer. And when I say football, I'm talking about soccer, as they call it around these parts here in America. And he is easily one of the most popular in the entire world. He played for Liverpool, and I'm pretty sure he still plays for Liverpool. He represents Egypt, and he has scored an absolute array of goals, as you will see right here.
Salah! Oh, wow! Oh! That is beyond special! Brilliant!
And oh my gosh, Mohamed Salah, a stellar footballer. However, he is also a very prominent chess player. Mohamed Salah has verbally stated countless times that he absolutely adores the game of chess. He wants to meet Magnus Carlsen, he plays chess all the time, and he actually was online today as I'm recording this video. Mohamed Salah loves chess, and he is currently sitting at in this game he's sitting at 1200. But this is a couple games down the road. I wanted to get some good games that had some checkmates in them for you guys. And we're going to jump right into it. So for this first game, Mohamed Salah here, he played in this game, he played a 77.8% accurate game, and his opponent played a 59.7% accurate game. Also, I wanted to find a rapid game so I could actually see how he processes positions and what his time looks like and all that kind of sort of stuff as far as that goes. But he literally only plays blitz. And by the way, this account that I have on screen for you, according to Reddit, according to everything that I have found, this is allegedly his main account. And when you look it up online, it's going to say another account, but this is 100% his account. He's mainly it says the United Kingdom on screen, I believe here, right? Yeah, United Kingdom. But he is all over the place. Mainly in the United Kingdom because that's where his club is, Liverpool. If he still plays it, I'm pretty sure he still plays it, but yeah. So yeah, let's jump right into this. So, like I said, he played a 77.8% accurate game, and his opponent played a 59.7% accurate game. And Mohamed Salah in this game played like a 1500 ELO player. So let's get right into it. So he opens the game up with e4, and his opponent responds with c5, which is a Sicilian opening. Very principled play, very structured. And I see this quite a lot as a 1900 ELO chess player. And it's a very solid line. But in blitz, it can get very tricky very fast as you have a lot less time. So Mohamed Salah responds with d4, and his opponent plays c takes d4, and we have knight f3. Very good job developing the knight. I tell beginners this all the time. Your goal is to control these 4 center squares as much as you possibly can, and you also want to develop these 4 pieces as fast as you freaking can. So Mohamed Salah does a good job of getting that out there. Make sure this is all properly situated. His opponent plays knight c6, which is a main line, and this is now the Sicilian open, because he sacked a pawn. Mohamed Salah plays e5, pushing a little bit more forward. So Mohamed Salah actually needed to play knight takes d4 here, and the reason being is because after the knight takes, then the queen takes, and he just has a lot more space. His opponent hasn't moved any pieces here, and he's just like his queen's in the game, yes. Perhaps eventually he can push this pawn here. Obviously not right now because the queen would just take. But Mohamed Salah just has so much more space. And plus he's doing exactly what I just told you. He's controlling all these squares right here. So that didn't in fact happen. He pushed the pawn here. And the reason why chess.com gives this a miss is because he is low-key kind of overextending. And anytime this knight moves, because this is the only defense of this pawn is going to be very vulnerable. So his opponent plays g6. The chess.com said the best move would have been to play knight takes d4. Really? Wait. No, knight. Oh, it says knight takes e5. Knight takes e5. And here, and then queen a5 check. And you can't bring this knight over to block the check at all. Your only move is to play something like this. Then you take, and you're just up to clean knight. Crazy. But his opponent doesn't find it. It is a blitz game. And this is blitz plus 2, by the way. Or 3 plus 2, I should say. And so his opponent plays g6, looking like he's going to try and fiend shadow the bishop there. Then we get knight takes d4, which is now a miss because the knight could have taken here. Or could have moved the queen down here and done exactly what I just told you. Create a check, and instead of winning the knight, taking the pawn. So we get g7, bishop g7 instead. The knight now takes the knight. Good move by Mohamed Salah. Well done. And then we get bishop takes on, b takes c6. I saw b there. Bishop f4, defending the pawn. I like that move. I think that move's fine. I don't think it's that bad. Then we get d6. Pawn attacks. And keep in mind, too, this bishop is x-raying this entire diagonal right here. So if this pawn takes, this pawn is going to fall. And so is the rook. Mohamed Salah does a good job. He moves his knight out. I honestly like that move. I think that move's fine, although you are going to lose this pawn. Bishop jumps out now to f4. And anytime you fiend shadow your bishop, like so, it's usually never a good idea to bring your bishop out here. Because if this bishop isn't protected, and a move like here, this bishop literally just has to probably go back, but I guess it could go... Yeah, no, it can't even go there either because the knight covers. So, more times than not, you probably don't want to do that. So we get e takes d6. E takes back on d6. Queen takes d6. Queen takes d6. Bishop takes c6. And then the bishop takes on c2. Best move on the board. So it is a very, very even position as it looks. Just like Ham does favor it a little bit, or favor white a little bit more. This bishop is very, very, taking up, like the bishop is creating so many threats here in all these spots here. This bishop is also doing practically the exact same thing too. So white's new goal here should be to try to get the bishop out and eventually castle. And vice versa for black. Although the bishop is covering here, so probably want to get here first. So bishop c4. Honestly, don't hate that move, is what I just said. And then black moves his rook over to attack that bishop to try to get the bishop out of there fast, as quickly as possible. Bishop slides back. And now the rook is threatening down this file. This rook does still cover, so you can't move it there right now. And the bishop also can't take here. Bishop also can't take here too because the bishop would just take back, and then you have a very devastating threat coming down this diagonal, but the pawn can obviously still push. So we get knight to f6. White castles. And black can't castle because the bishop is blocking the file the king needs to go over to create the castle. And by the way, if you didn't know, castling is the king moves over 2 squares this way, rook goes on the other side, and queen side, 2 squares, and same thing, the rook would go on the opposite side of the king. So every single time you castle, king over 2 spaces, either side, and the rook goes on the other side. And both pieces, the rook that the king uses to castle, and the king itself cannot move before castling. So we get h5, and this is a devastating mistake. Because after rook, e1 check, you can't block this. I mean, actually, no, you can't block it there. You can't block it there. Because if you go there, the knight's going to take, bishop takes, and then you win a piece. So the only move here is apparently king. Oh, because the king can't go here because of the bishop. So the king has to slide here. Rook e7 check. Now the king has to go back to c8. And you're going to win material here. The knight jumps back to e8. Bishop e7. Crazy. Oops. Attacking this rook here. But yeah, eventually you will lose material. That's literally just perfect play. So, and Mohamed Salah actually plays rook fe1, or he plays rook fe1. Great move, creating a check. Now the king is forced to move. Good job by his opponent moving that king. Then we get bishop takes on f7, taking a pawn. Just like this is an inaccuracy, but honestly I don't hate it. And also Mohamed Salah has used absolutely no time, so this guy is doing pretty well. Knight g4, bring the knight in. And honestly, this is bad because you can literally just push the pawn here, I believe. No, it says rook. Oh, it still says rook e7 check. So the rook slides over to c1. Bishop slides back to d3. Bishop slides back, and you probably could have played the rook. Like, it still wants you to play here. This has been the best move for about 5 moves now. You could have also maybe slid the rook here to try and pin the bishop to the king. But the king can't get out, and the rook can cover too. So bishop slides back now to a3. King c7. Rook e7 check. King b8. We get h3, attacking the knight. And the knight's now going to have to move to either here or here. But instead, the knight goes there. And instead of taking the knight, because if you take this knight, you lose it. Mohamed Salah finds the best move, which is bishop b3. Getting the bishop out and creating a double attack on these pieces. So the bishop's going to have to slide down now. Or maybe not. Why can't the bishop slide down? That is the best move. But instead he slides the rook over and the bishop falls. Now the knight comes over to c4 to attack everything. Last gasp effort by his opponent. Pawn pushes up. And Mohamed Salah is up 4 pieces of material. And at this point, it's just clean up. You get bishop check on a7. King a8. Knight a4. And keep in mind, this king is currently out of squares. Oops. The only move to save the position here is rook b8. His opponent plays rook d e8. And Mohamed Salah finds checkmate in 1 with the knight. A flawless game of blitz by the world football superstar, Mohamed Salah. So that is going to be our first game. Let's get into the second one. All right, time for our second game. And I'm not going to lie, I was wearing that windbreaker, but it got really hot, so I took it off. Hopefully you thought that first one was cool, though. So for our second game with Mohamed Salah, he played a 67.8% accurate game, and his opponent played a 74% accurate game. There were a lot of blunders, a lot of good moves, and you're going to find out exactly what went wrong in this one. So his opponent opens the game with d4. Mohamed Salah responds with d5, knight c3, knight f6. Very principled play. Taking space, getting these pieces out, very important pieces to get out. Now the bishop comes out to f4, and this is the queen's pawn opening Chagrin variation. Chagrin variation. I'm gonna get flamed probably, but whatever. Pawn a6, knight f3, knight c6, bring the knight out. I honestly don't hate that. It would have rather him played e6 here to try and get the bishop into the game. And honestly, I feel like it probably would have been good to play bishop g4, right? Or is that bad? No. Oh, because then I can still move to e5. And the bishop's just, you just lose the tempo. Okay, so the pawn pushes here on e3. Then we get e6, bishop d3, bishop d6, castles, bishop takes on f4, pawn takes on f4, bishop d7, knight e5. And this looks like a free pawn. But Mohamed Salah plays h6. After h6, we get rook e1, sliding the rook over. Then we get knight b4. Best move on the board by Mohamed Salah. Well done, my friend. Then we get pawn push to a3. Knight slides back to c6. Queen f3. And now when you take this pawn, you're going to be attacking the queen, so the queen's going to have to move, and Mohamed Salah's opponent loses a tempo. And he does that now. He takes the pawn. Best move on the board. And by the way, for the record, his opponent, I know this is like a 3+2 game, but his opponent has not thought at all. When you get, especially when you're playing rapid, blitz is a different animal, but when you're playing rapid, take your time with your moves, especially in complicated positions that you don't understand. Even if your opponent is moving a lot faster than you are, and maybe you're worried about getting lower on time, don't even think about it. That's literally just an extra thing you have to think about. Your goal is to understand what exactly is happening in the position and what exactly you need to do to further your interests in the game and how to deteriorate your opponent's interest in the game. So when you get in those complicated positions, don't move too fast. Take your time as you will. So knight takes on d4. Well done by Mohamed Salah. And the reason why I pointed that out too is because, like I say, he literally has more time than he started with. So we get queen g3. Looks like he's trying to attack this pawn. Mohamed Salah castles now. Best move on the board. Well done, my friend. Then we get rook e3, bringing the rook down. And now black has a massive advantage. Mainly for the fact that after c5, he's going to be pushing this pawn here soon. And let's say Mohamed Salah does something weird. Let's say he does something like brings the rook here. Can you push this pawn? The bishop has to move. And the only move it can really go is here, right? But when you move the bishop off the defense of this pawn, it is a fork. And Mohamed Salah is going to win a rook for a knight. However, Mohamed Salah plays bishop e5, attacking the bishop. Very interesting stuff. I don't know how I feel about that one personally, but I mean, he's fine. He's a world-class footballer, so he knows a little bit more about life than I do, perhaps. But instead of taking the bishop, and by the way, you can take with the bishop, with the knight or the bishop. His opponent plays queen h4, and I have no idea what he's thinking here. Maybe he's trying to get his rook over here now to try and pin the pawn to the king. But like, there's ways to prevent this from ever being a reasonable detriment. A reasonable detrimental factor. So Mohamed Salah takes the bishop now. Best move on the board. Well done, my friend. And Mohamed Salah is +2 in this position. After this, we get c takes d4. Or excuse me, c takes d3. And the eval bar says Mohamed Salah is +4.4. Because the winning move here is knight f5. A fork of the queen and the rook. But instead, Mohamed Salah plays knight c2. Still a good move. Like, it's not the worst move. Chess.com says it's an inaccuracy. I see exactly what he's thinking, though. Fork of the rooks. He still found a fork, so give him the benefit of the doubt with that. And his opponent goes to rook g3. Now having the attack brewing, coming down this file. And Mohamed Salah must play either knight e4, which would be here, which is kind of crazy. The reason why that's moves because now the queen is being attacked. But after the queen, it says the queen can take here. Oh my gosh, because knight takes on g3. That's crazy. Okay, so the queen after the queen takes, we get a rook takes on the d file. And it says knight takes e4. Wait. Knight takes e4. Oh yeah, knight takes e4. And then the pawn takes. Oh no. Yeah. No? Oh, then you take the rook. Okay. Alright, sorry, a little backwards there. But instead, Mohamed Salah plays knight e7. And the position is completely hopeless. Because of queen g4. And this is very bad. Because your only way of stopping checkmate here is to either go g6, g5, queen f6. But if you play something like queen f6, the knight's going to take here, and you are going to be forked. And when the pawn pushes here, his opponent can sack the knight. And after you take, if you take, it will be mate in a couple of moves. Now, if you pushed here, and this is the top engine move, by the way. Knight takes c7. And if the queen takes, f takes, pawn takes, same thing, it's going to be made in a couple of moves. So Mohamed Salah needs to take his sweet time also. Did I go to the right move? Yeah. So Mohamed Salah needs to take his sweet time with this. But instead he plays the third top engine move, which is g6. Now his opponent has a mate and 3. Same reason, he can sack the knight. But his opponent sacks the rook! Oh my... The rook! Oh, I see the vision! But chess.com says it's flawed. Because after the f-pawn takes, queen takes. However, the king has an escape route. h8. And perhaps you can do a repetition and Mohamed Salah is up 3 pieces. But there's no clear way to create a checkmate. Unbelievable stuff from Mohamed Salah's opponent. The f-pawn does take, which is the only move on the board. Queen takes on g6. After king h8, queen h6 check. Best move on the board once again by Mohamed Salah's opponent. King goes back. Then we get knight g6. Completely and utterly blundering the position. Because Mohamed Salah can just take this rook. And there's no checkmating threat. And keep in mind, look at all the pieces Mohamed Salah has compared to his opponent. It's not even close. It is not even close. Because when the queen comes here to create a check, the king slides up. You go here, and the king can just go back to e8. Perhaps the knight can take, you just take right back. And there's nothing his opponent can do. Absolutely unbelievable stuff. But instead of taking the rook, Mohamed Salah got scared and played rook f6. And it is now an even position. He's not losing as it stands. And we get queen h8, check. King slides up, only move on the board. And the queen slides up again, 2h7, creating a check. Also the best move on the board, king e8. And then we get queen g8, check. Once again, Mohamed Salah is winning. So we get knight f8, blocking, best move on the board. If you slide down with the rook, the knight can just take. Whereas if the knight takes now, the rook would just take, and he'd be completely winning. So Mohamed Salah's opponent takes the knight on f8. And he could have just taken this knight, but instead I think he got a little nervous because he's getting low on time. Slides the king up. Then we get knight g6 check. King slides back. Queen takes the queen. Rook takes on d8, taking the queen back. Rook c1. Knight d4. Knight e5. And at this point, Mohamed Salah is up. Is he up? No, he's not up. He's up and he doesn't have an advantage in pieces. Oh my word, I'm at a loss for words. I thought I took the rook. But B5, G3, A5, King F1. That's a crazy move, by the way. How did his opponent find King F1? That's a crazy move. Okay. And in this position, Mohamed Salah blunders the knight in one move. He is down a lot of time. His opponent played very fast. And when you get in these time scrambles, that is what happens. And he doesn't even take the knight! He finds an even better move! Taking the B pawn with check, because the king can't even get over here because the rook is sniping! King e7, rook takes on c7 check. King f8, rook h7, knight takes on e5. F takes on e5, rook g6. And it's the entire world in front of Mohamed Salah. Knight d6, rook b8, rook f7 check. King g8, rook b7. Rook takes on b7, knight takes on b7, rook g7, knight b6, rook g4, f4, rook g7, b4. And all Mohamed Salah's opponent has to do is literally just clean up the position, which is essentially exactly what happens here. Yes, he's up a rook, but there's no stopping these pawns. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns to his 2. plus a knight. And by the way, when this knight is over on in enemy territory and it's covered by a pawn, it is so incredibly potent. And I'm going to go ahead and flip through these moves because there's 74 moves in this. And Mohamed Salah's opponent does an excellent job. Excellent technique. He could have played right here, or actually, he could have just played the knight here and would have been mate in 1. Because the king has no squares. King takes on e6, d4, king f6, d3, and Mohamed Salah's opponent finds knight checkmate on f7, and Mohamed Salah loses this game. I showed you a Mohamed Salah loss because I want you to know even the greatest celebrities, the greatest athletes in the world lose at chess. It's a realistic thing. But the difference between those who climb the ELO ladder compared to those who climb the ELO ladder at a quicker pace compared to those who climb the ELO ladder at a much slower pace is how somebody reacts after a loss. Chess is a very emotional game, and we're going to find out how Mohamed Salah responded in this third and final game. Let's get right into it. Alright, so for our third and final Mohamed Salah game, we have Mohamed Salah playing with the black pieces and his opponent playing with the white pieces. In this game, let's see here, Mohamed Salah played a 59.4% accurate game and his opponent played a 56.7% accurate game. Let's see how this one went down. So the game opens up with e4. Mohamed Salah plays d5. And by the way, anytime I see e4, I'm always playing the Karl Khan. This is the advanced variation. And the knight ever goes here, if they never take your pawn or push, you always just take this pawn back, and usually it goes like this, and then you get a Tartakower eventually. Yeah, it's Tartakower variation. But Mohamed Salah plays d5, which is the Scandinavian defense. A very, very interesting line. So e takes on d5, e6, d takes e6, bishop b6. Well done by Mohamed Salah, getting the bishop into the game and not taking with the pawn, isolating this pawn, which would be bad. Knight c3, queen e7, knight e2, knight c6, g3, f6, or excuse me, knight f6, bishop g2, bishop g4, and Mohamed Salah's losing in this spot because he's down a pawn. Where was that? I think I missed it. Oh yeah, he was. Alright, where were we? Alright, so he plays h3. Now the bishop takes. Ooh, I don't know if you want to take there. Because while you're, like, keep in mind too, when you are down material, you ideally want to keep as much material on the board as you possibly can to create counter threats, create more spots where your opponent can make a mistake and you get back in the game, and the list goes on and on. So the queen takes on e2, then we get queen takes e2 check. And by the way, Mohamed Salah's opponent was pinning Mohamed's queen to his queen, so he had to take. Knight takes, well done. Don't take with the king because then you would lose your right to castle. Bishop d6, c3, castles, d4, rook fe8, bishop b3, rook a b8, and white has a massive advantage, by the way, as it stands. Because he's up one piece of material, and these pawns are all very structured, as well as these. He can castle, the rooks are going to be coming in here soon, and that is why he is up. So his opponent finds the best move, which is to castle long, castle queenside. And remember when I said castling is 2 squares over? Knight a5, d5. And this is a blunder because after knight c4, attacking the bishop, there's no way to defend this. You can go rook d3. It says h5. Yeah, that's a complicated line, but pushes the pawn, and chess.com says this is a mistake. Knight c4. And he finds the best move. Very impressive by Mohamed Salah. And the bishop takes on f7. And this is a mistake because when the rook slides over and the bishop goes back, the rook can take on a2. And now Mohamed Salah is storming the king's position. And his opponent responds with rook h1! Completely and utterly blundering the position. If you want to find the winning move, go ahead and pause the video, try and find it. I wish you luck. I had to take a little bit of time to try and find this when I was reviewing this game initially. And move is rook e8. And the rooks are going to be storming. If the king slides down, it's going to be mate in a couple moves. If you go here, where is it? It's check. Here, rook a4, block, mate, which is a crazy line. But instead of playing rook e a8, rook takes the pawn on b2. And this isn't a bad move. Mohamed Salah still has a massive advantage. He has tied the game as it stands in material, and he has also created a massive threat, because anytime you get the rooks on the 7th rank of your opponent, or for you moving forward, in this case it would be black on the 2 file, for white it'd be the 7 file. There's just so much, you're controlling so much space, and this king is suffocating. He just does not have very much room to breathe. And so we get rook d4. Mohamed Salah takes the bishop. Best move on the board. After pawn takes, Mohamed Salah takes the pawn on g3. I think, can you take here? Because king takes it up here. Oof. Oof. And yeah, the knight stopped defending this, so if the king takes here, you just take the bishop, and you're still up a piece of material. And also, now you're attacking the rook here, and if this rook doesn't move, or sorry, if this rook does move, like here, you just lose the knight with check. That's crazy. So, pawn takes, then we get bishop takes on g3, and then the king takes on b2, best move on the board. Mohamed Salah takes the rook back on e1. Then we get rook c4, b6, e4, rook c8, knight d4. Mohamed Salah is still up one piece of material, and his opponent plays bishop g3. Or sorry, Mohamed Salah plays bishop g3. That just blunders it all. Because knight f5 check. Or knight f5 check. I swear I know what I'm doing. After the knight goes to f5. If the bishop moves, it will be a fork. Whereas if the bishop doesn't move, so the bishop goes all the way back here, Mohamed Salah can sack, or excuse me, Mohamed Salah's opponent can sack the knight. Because if the pawn takes back, it's going to be checkmate in 2 moves. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Oh, sorry. Mohamed Salah's opponent played knight c6. And Mohamed Salah plays king f8, stopping this fork, a very, very spooky fork, at e5. And Mohamed Salah is getting very low on time, by the way. Keep that in the back of your noggin as with this game progresses. Knight d7, e6, f takes e6, d takes e6, knight c5. And honestly, I couldn't tell you why I think this, I guess the pawn can push here now. And the king, it says f7 here, and then get the rook over perhaps. And if you go here, that's a mistake because of, what is it, knight a7? Yeah, knight a7 attacking this. And the rook has to move. And the rook goes back here. What is it? Oh, the bishop just takes. Crazy. All right, so, yeah, so his opponent plays bishop d5. Knight d3, check, played by Mohamed Salah. King b1. Salah plays b5. And his opponent finds the best move. Rook d4. Attacking the knight. And creating more pressure on this file. Knight c5. Rook b4. honestly, like, I don't know why he didn't play e7. e7 check. And the king can only go to e8 now. And the king is just completely suffocated because it can't go here, 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 or take. His opponent plays Mohamed Salah plays bishop d6. Best move on the board. Rook takes on b5. Mohamed Salah plays knight d3. This is just getting funny at this point. Oh, I love this. Rook b7, bringing the rook down. Knight f4. Mohamed Salah's opponent plays rook b8. Mohamed Salah takes the rook. Knight takes. And he gets the knight. And now he's just up a clean couple pieces of material. And we get an array of moves here. I'm going to go ahead and flip through these real quick because there's a lot of them. But essentially, he pushes the pawn down the board. I don't really know what exactly. Yeah, so he's pushing there. Now the knight slides up, and he just sacks the knight. But in the process, he gets a queen. And here, Mohamed Salah just cleans up. A very, very solid game, and great technique too, by the way. When you have if you're in a time scramble and it's just a queen and a king, your goal is to try. So you have a box here, and your goal is to try and take as many squares away from the king as possible. So the best move here would have probably been to play here, personally, because then the king can only go here, here, or here. And if the king does go, so let's say that does happen. Let's say he goes here. You just continue to make the box smaller and smaller. King goes here. Check here. And then the king completely suffocated. You just bring your king in and create checkmate eventually. But Mohamed Salah does still have a very solid technique, I think. Delivering checkmate on move 75. A very, very solid game from Mohamed Salah. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and tell me what you thought of these games. There were a slurry of blunders, and it's crazy to think that professional athletes, professional celebrities, whatever they may be, play chess and they make mistakes just like you. We're all human. But to get better at the game, you have to stay consistent with it and stay strong, because everybody's going to lose thousands of games of chess. It is inevitable. So trust your game, stick with it, and drop that comment. Tell me what you think. And also, if you enjoy chess content, I highly recommend you subscribe. We post these videos every single day, and I'm going to be reviewing more professional athletes, more celebrities. We're going to be dropping some knowledge as far as openings go, and a bunch more other awesome stuff. If you enjoy chess, I highly recommend you hit that subscribe button. And also, we have a Discord server, and we host chess tournaments, daily checkmates, which is what we do instead of chess puzzles, because checkmates are more fun to solve than puzzles. We have a chess dojo where we teach a lot of different chess stuff, a chess club, chess training, and a bunch of other awesome, fun stuff. The link to that is going to be in the description down below, and all you got to do is click that, hop in, and explore the server. And also, I have this store called a WHOP store, and it is a straight extension access to our Tier 1 and Tier 2 side of our Discord server. Tier 1 is where you will find the Chess Dojo, so you have to go through the WHOP store to get to the Chess Dojo. And I review 3 games from you every single week. I'm a 1900 ELO chess player. I was 2000, but I dropped a little bit. 1900 ELO chess player. I would review 3 games from you every single week. Post training videos every single week for you to improve your openings, middle games, end games, whatever it may be. And we have an elite chess club where a lot of like-minded chess players come together, talk about the game, and improve. And having that community is very, very solid if you are trying to improve at chess. I highly recommend you check it out. And then Tier 2 is still in the works. It is the highest level. There's so much stuff in there, and I'm going to spare you all the details. If you want to find out, hop in the Discord. There's a link in there to learn more about it, and all you got to do is click that and just review it. Yeah, I recommend you check that out too. It's very fun too. And also, guys, if you enjoyed this video, one last thing, check out this video. This video was very, very fun to make, and I highly, highly, highly recommend you check it out if you like chess. You'll probably find it very funny, very insightful, and maybe all the above. Who knows? Once again, guys, I'm going to say this for the 3,000th time. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace.